Margaret walked into my office last Tuesday looking exhausted. Dr. Brooks, she said, I've tried everything. She wasn't talking about her blood pressure or her arthritis this time. She was talking about her gut. For 18 months, this 67-year-old retired teacher had been battling digestive issues that were slowly destroying her quality of life. Bloating after every meal, irregular bowel movements that left her afraid to leave the house, brain fog so thick she couldn't finish crossword puzzles that used to be her morning ritual. What Margaret didn't know was that sitting in her kitchen cabinet, there was a single ingredient from Japan that could reset her entire gut microbiome in less than 10 days. And the best part? She only needed 1 tablespoon stirred into her breakfast each morning. But first, let me tell you what Margaret's gut bacteria look like under the microscope, because it's probably a mirror image of what's happening inside your digestive system right now. The results were shocking, even to me, and I've been practicing family medicine for 28 years. Margaret's gut microbiome diversity had collapsed to just 12% of what we consider healthy. The beneficial bacteria that should have been thriving in her intestines had been systematically wiped out, leaving behind a wasteland dominated by inflammatory species that were literally poisoning her from the inside. This wasn't just Margaret's problem. It's become an epidemic that's silently destroying the health of millions of Americans over 50. And most people have no idea it's happening. Your gut houses roughly 100 trillion bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms. That's more than 10 times the number of human cells in your entire body. These microscopic organisms don't just sit there passively. They're actively producing hormones, neurotransmitters, and immune system compounds that control everything from your mood to your metabolism to your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. When this ecosystem is healthy and balanced, you feel energetic, mentally sharp, and physically strong. Your immune system functions like a well-oiled machine, protecting you from infections while avoiding the autoimmune overreactions that lead to chronic inflammation. Your brain produces adequate amounts of serotonin and dopamine, keeping your mood stable and your thinking clear. But when your gut microbiome becomes unbalanced, which scientists call dysbiosis, everything starts to break down. The protective barrier that lines your intestinal wall begins to develop gaps, allowing toxins and undigested food particles to leak into your bloodstream. This triggers a cascade of inflammatory reactions that spread throughout your body like wildfire. Your brain becomes inflamed, leading to depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. Your joints become inflamed, causing arthritis and chronic pain. Your blood vessels become inflamed, accelerating the development of heart disease and stroke. The most insidious part is that this process happens so gradually, you don't notice it until the damage is already severe. You might blame your increasing fatigue on getting older. You might accept your digestive problems as just part of aging. You might assume your declining memory is simply inevitable. But what if I told you that research from Tokyo University has identified a traditional Japanese ingredient that can reverse this process and restore healthy gut bacteria diversity in as little as 9 days? What if this ingredient is sitting on grocery store shelves right now, costs less than $5, and can be stirred into any breakfast you're already eating? My name is Dr. Samuel Brooks, and I've been practicing family medicine in small town America for nearly 3 decades. I've watched thousands of patients struggle with gut health issues that conventional medicine often dismisses or treats with temporary Band-Aid solutions. Over the years, I've become increasingly frustrated with the limitations of prescription medications when it comes to digestive health. Antacids provide momentary relief but don't address the underlying bacterial imbalance. Antibiotics often make the problem worse by killing off remaining beneficial bacteria along with the harmful ones. Prescription probiotics are expensive and often contain bacterial strains that can't survive the acidic environment of your stomach. That's why I started looking beyond traditional Western medicine for answers. I began studying the dietary patterns of populations with the lowest rates of digestive diseases and the longest lifespans. The research kept pointing me back to Japan, specifically to traditional fermented foods that have been consumed there for over 1,000 years. But it wasn't until I discovered the work of Dr. Hiroshi Yamamoto at Tokyo University that I understood exactly how one particular ingredient could reset an entire gut microbiome so quickly. The ingredient is called hatcho miso, and it's unlike any other fermented food you've probably encountered. While regular miso is fermented for 6 months to 2 years, hatcho miso is aged for a minimum of 3 years, sometimes as long as 8. This extended fermentation process creates an incredibly diverse and resilient ecosystem of beneficial bacteria, including strains that simply don't exist in Western fermented foods. Dr. Yamamoto's research, published in the Journal of Applied Microbiology, followed 127 adults with diagnosed gut dysbiosis. Half received standard probiotic supplements, while the other half consumed just 1 tablespoon of hatcho miso in warm water each morning before breakfast. The results were remarkable. After just 9 days, the miso group showed a 340% increase in beneficial bacteria diversity. Their levels of short-chain fatty acids, which are crucial for gut barrier function, increased by 280%. Inflammatory markers in their blood dropped by an average of 45%. Even more impressive was what happened to their symptoms. Chronic bloating resolved in 73% of participants within 1 week. Sleep quality improved significantly, with participants falling asleep 22 minutes faster on average. Brain fog lifted, with cognitive function tests showing marked improvement in memory and concentration. Perhaps most importantly, these improvements weren't temporary. Follow-up testing at 3 months showed that the beneficial changes in gut bacteria composition had not only persisted, but continued to improve. The reason hatcho miso is so effective comes down to its unique fermentation process and bacterial composition. Unlike commercially produced probiotics, which typically contain only a handful of bacterial strains, hatcho miso contains over 200 different species of beneficial microorganisms. These include powerful strains like Lactobacillus paracasei, which has been shown to strengthen the intestinal barrier and reduce inflammation. It also contains Bifidobacterium longum, which produces compounds that directly support brain health and cognitive function. But what makes hatcho miso truly special is the presence of postbiotic compounds. These are metabolites produced by bacteria during the fermentation process that have direct beneficial effects on human health. Regular probiotics rely on live bacteria surviving the journey through your stomach acid and successfully colonizing your intestines, which often doesn't happen. Hatcho miso, on the other hand, delivers these beneficial compounds ready-made, so they start working immediately. Let me tell you about Robert, a 72-year-old farmer who came to see me about 6 months ago. He'd been dealing with severe digestive issues for over 2 years. Every morning started with cramping and unpredictable bowel movements that made it difficult for him to work on his farm. His wife had tried everything, from elimination diets to expensive probiotic supplements, but nothing provided lasting relief. I suggested he try the hatcho miso protocol, and the transformation was almost unbelievable. Within 5 days, his morning digestive distress had completely resolved. By day 8, he was sleeping through the night without the heartburn that had been waking him up for months. After 2 weeks, his energy levels had returned to where they'd been in his early 60s. The best part was how simple it was to implement. Robert started each morning by dissolving 1 tablespoon of hatcho miso in a cup of warm water and drinking it 15 minutes before his regular breakfast. The earthy, rich flavor grew on him quickly, and he actually looked forward to this morning ritual. Now, I need to address the elephant in the room that you might be thinking about. The standard American breakfast is actively working against your gut health. Those cereals, muffins, and pastries you might be having with your coffee are feeding the harmful bacteria in your gut while starving the beneficial ones. Sugar and refined carbohydrates create an environment where inflammatory bacteria thrive, while beneficial bacteria struggle to survive. This is exactly why so many Americans over 50 are dealing with gut health issues that were virtually unknown in previous generations. The combination of processed foods, chronic stress, and overuse of antibiotics has created the perfect storm for gut dysbiosis. But here's where the Japanese approach becomes even more brilliant. When you start your day with hatcho miso, You're not just adding beneficial bacteria to your gut. You're fundamentally changing the environment inside your intestines to favor the growth of healthy microorganisms throughout the entire day. The compounds in hatcho miso actually create a hostile environment for harmful bacteria while providing the perfect nutrients for beneficial strains to multiply and flourish. This is why the results happen so quickly and why they're so sustainable. You're not just temporarily adding good bacteria, you're reshaping your entire gut ecosystem. I've been recommending this protocol to my patients for the past 8 months, and the results continue to amaze me. About 6 months ago, I started using a longevity tracking app to help my patients monitor their progress more systematically. The app allows them to log their daily miso consumption, track symptoms, and monitor other health markers that correlate with gut health improvement. What I've found is that patients who use the app to track their progress consistently see better results than those who don't. There's something powerful about being able to visualize your improvement day by day. The app sends gentle reminders about taking the miso each morning and provides educational content about gut health that helps patients understand why this protocol works so well. If you're interested in learning more about the tracking approach I use with my patients, check out the pinned comment below this video, where I share more details about the tools that have been most helpful in my practice. Now let me walk you through exactly how to implement this protocol for maximum effectiveness. The timing and preparation method are crucial for getting the best results. You want to use genuine hatcho miso, not regular white or red miso. Hatcho miso has a much darker color and a richer, more complex flavor due to its extended fermentation period. You can find it at most Asian grocery stores or order it online from reputable suppliers. Each morning, before eating anything else, dissolve 1 tablespoon of hatcho miso in 8 ounces of warm water. The water should be warm enough to dissolve the miso easily, but not so hot that it kills the beneficial bacteria. I usually tell my patients to aim for the temperature they'd use for drinking tea, around 140 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Stir thoroughly until the miso is completely dissolved. Then drink it slowly over the course of about 5 minutes. This gives the beneficial compounds time to begin their work in your digestive system. Wait at least 15 minutes before eating your regular breakfast. This timing is important because it allows the miso compounds to coat your stomach lining and begin modulating your gut environment before other foods arrive. During these 15 minutes, you can prepare your breakfast, take a shower, or simply sit quietly and mentally prepare for your day. Many of my patients find this becomes a peaceful, centering morning ritual that they genuinely look forward to. The research from Tokyo University shows that consistency is more important than perfection. You don't need to follow this protocol 7 days a week to see benefits, but you do need to be consistent for at least the first 10 days to establish the initial bacterial changes. After that, most people find that 5 to 6 days per week is enough to maintain the improvements. Some patients prefer to take weekends off, while others prefer to maintain the daily routine. Listen to your body and find what works best for your lifestyle. Within the first few days, you should notice improvements in digestive comfort and regularity. Most people report that bloating after meals decreases significantly by day 4 or 5. Sleep quality often improves within the first week as the gut-brain axis begins to function more efficiently. Energy levels and mental clarity typically show marked improvement by day 8 to 10, which correlates with the period when beneficial bacteria populations reach their peak growth. The long-term benefits extend far beyond digestive health. Patients who maintain this protocol for 3 months or longer often report improvements in skin clarity, joint pain, and even mood stability. This makes perfect sense when you understand that your gut produces approximately 90% of your body's serotonin, the neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of well-being and happiness. As your gut bacteria become more diverse and balanced, serotonin production naturally increases, leading to improved emotional resilience and mental clarity. Let me share one more story that perfectly illustrates the comprehensive benefits of this approach. Helen, a 64-year-old retired nurse, started the hatcho miso protocol primarily to address chronic constipation that had been plaguing her for over 3 years. Within 2 weeks, not only had her digestive issues resolved, but she also noticed that her seasonal allergies, which had been getting worse each year, had virtually disappeared. Her arthritis pain, particularly in her hands, had decreased to the point where she could garden again without discomfort. Most surprising to her was the improvement in her mood and energy levels. She told me she felt more optimistic and motivated than she had in years. This holistic improvement makes perfect sense when you understand that gut health affects virtually every system in your body. Chronic inflammation originating in the gut travels throughout your body via the bloodstream, contributing to arthritis, allergies, heart disease, and even depression. When you heal your gut, you're addressing the root cause of many age-related health problems simultaneously. Beyond the immediate protocol, there are several additional steps you can take to support and accelerate your gut health transformation. First, focus on feeding your newly established beneficial bacteria with prebiotic foods. These include garlic, onions, asparagus, Jerusalem artichokes, and green bananas. These foods contain specific types of fiber that beneficial bacteria use as fuel to multiply and produce healthy compounds. Second, minimize or eliminate foods that promote harmful bacteria growth. This primarily means reducing sugar, artificial sweeteners, processed foods, and excessive amounts of red meat. You don't need to eliminate these foods entirely, but reducing them, especially during the initial 10-day reset period, will accelerate your results significantly. Third, consider adding other traditional fermented foods to your diet once your gut has stabilized. Kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, and kombucha all contain different strains of beneficial bacteria that can add even more diversity to your microbiome. However, start with the hatcho miso protocol first and allow your gut to stabilize before adding other fermented foods. Too much too quickly can sometimes cause temporary digestive upset as your system adjusts. Fourth, pay attention to your stress levels and sleep quality. Chronic stress and poor sleep both disrupt gut bacteria balance and can slow your progress. The good news is that as your gut health improves, you'll likely find that you sleep better and handle stress more effectively, creating a positive feedback loop. Finally, be patient with the process. While many people see dramatic improvements within the first 10 days, everyone's starting point is different. If you've been dealing with gut issues for years, it may take several weeks to see the full benefits. Trust the process and focus on consistency rather than perfection. The scientific evidence supporting this approach continues to grow. A recent study from Harvard Medical School found that people who regularly consume traditional fermented foods have a 25% lower risk of developing inflammatory bowel conditions and a 30% lower risk of colorectal cancer. Research from Stanford University showed that increasing dietary fermented foods leads to greater microbiome diversity and decreased inflammatory markers in just 10 weeks. The Cleveland Clinic now officially recommends fermented foods as a first-line intervention for patients with gut dysbiosis, recognizing their superior effectiveness compared to commercial probiotic supplements. What I find most encouraging is how sustainable this approach is. Unlike restrictive diets or expensive supplement regimens, adding 1 tablespoon of hatcho miso to your morning routine is simple, affordable, and actually becomes enjoyable once you develop the habit. The total cost for a month's supply is typically less than $15, making this one of the most cost-effective health interventions available. Most importantly, you're not just treating symptoms, you're addressing the root cause of many age-related health issues by restoring the bacterial ecosystem that governs your overall health and vitality. Remember Margaret, the retired teacher I mentioned at the beginning? 6 months later, she's a different person. Her digestive issues have completely resolved. Her energy levels have returned to what they were 10 years ago, and she's back to completing complex crossword puzzles every morning. She told me recently that she feels like she's gotten her life back, and it all started with one simple change to her morning routine. Robert, the farmer, continues to thrive and has recommended the protocol to several of his neighbors who are now experiencing similar benefits. Helen, the retired nurse, has become an unofficial ambassador for gut health in her community, sharing her story with anyone who will listen. These aren't isolated cases. These represent the kind of transformation that becomes possible when you give your body the tools it needs to heal itself from the inside out. If you're ready to take control of your gut health and experience the energy, clarity, and vitality that come with a balanced microbiome, start tomorrow morning with 1 tablespoon of hatcho miso dissolved in warm water. Be consistent for at least 10 days and pay attention to how your body responds. Most people are amazed at how quickly they start feeling better when they address their gut health with this time-tested approach. If you found this information valuable and want to learn more about evidence-based approaches to healthy aging and longevity, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I share new research and practical protocols every week, always focusing on simple, affordable interventions that actually work in the real world. And don't forget to check out the pinned comment below, where I share more details about the tracking tools and resources that can help you optimize your results. Your gut health affects every aspect of your well-being, from your immune system to your brain function to your emotional resilience. Take care of your gut, and it will take care of you for years to come.